Welcome all you ancient Greek fanatics to the Apotheon video review. I'm Megan Sullivan, your host, and I'm with Elena Yee. How are you doing, Elena?
Good.
Okay, so we're playing Apotheon, and it is a side-scrolling action-adventure game by developer Alien Trap.
So I actually have my first question for you. Is it Apotheon or is it Apotheon?
So I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it accurately or not, but I say Apotheon because when I went to Greece to study, they would always say Apollo or something like that, and so I always pronounce it Apotheon because I think I'm pronouncing it accurately, but most people just call it Apotheon. So Apotheon, it's all good.
Cool. So can you talk a little bit more about the story? Because, I mean, I'm looking at the visuals. They're really gorgeous. But just from this looks like introductory level, I don't really feel like I have a good sense of what's going on, aside from the fact that things are on fire.
Yes. So basically, the story is, this is the hero Nicandrios we're looking at. His name means victorious man in ancient Greek, which is kind of a cool thing. His village is on fire, and it's on fire because the gods have attacked it. So the basic story is the gods no longer have a use for humanity, and it will be up to Nicandrios to go up to Olympus and defeat the gods before they can destroy every living human being.
That is really strange, because you would think they would never run out of people they'd want to fornicate with. Sorry.
That's actually a really good point. But at any rate, so we've got Nicandrios here. He's got a short sword called Xephos, and one of the things I like about this game is that the weapons and armor actually have accurate ancient Greek names. So his Xephos is a short sword that was favored by the ancient Spartans. Spears are called doru, which were used in phalanx warfare. All sorts of really crazy detail, and you can see the visuals are really stunning. And the game is made to look like it's being played on an ancient Greek amphora, which is really cool. So I'm gonna go up and stabby. Oop, I don't have a sword, so we're gonna have to get into this stabbing thing. So one of the things I mentioned that I like, and here's a little bit of a story exposition.
See their ships through the darkness. These raiders scum will take everything we have.
Okay, so
They're taking prisoners, invading houses, and burning anything they can't pillage. I need you wherever you can stick a blade.
all right. So basically, at this point, I can go in several different directions. It's kind of a quasi-open world game. So as you can see, I can go find the hunter, secure the granary, find the blacksmith, find the apothecary.
So does it basically keep you like on a certain path, but you have some flexibility in how you complete that path then?
Exactly. So it's not exactly linear. As you go along, you'll be able to do missions in sort of any order you want up to a point. So through the first half of the game, you'll be required to... I'm trying to stab that poor villager. You'll actually be able to fight the gods in kind of any order you want, which is pretty cool. And each god has their own domain, which is another thing I like about the game is the level design. So, for example, when I go to fight Ares, all the battles will take place in a very blood-soaked arena, which is very fitting for the god of war.
Right.
When I go to Athena's palace, it's this huge rotating maze that I have to sort of find my way
she's
through.
the goddess of like intellect and wisdom.
Exactly. So it's really well designed. It's very pretty. And I like that the weapons behave very accurately. So as you can see, I can only stab this guy if I'm close enough because I have a short sword. Later, as I get more weapons, they'll behave differently. So
So how deep does that go with the weapons? Like, is it something that you actually spend a lot of time like collecting or looking for?
yeah, so you end up with a pretty impressive inventory list, but one of the problems I have with the game is that even quick toggling through all of my weapons and armor, it's kind of hard to do because, as you'll see, I'll actually get dogpiled by enemies. So if I have to keep flipping through and cycling through my inventory, it's pretty time consuming, and it's also pretty, yay, I got a shield. Hey, you. Let's see if I can get this guy. There we go. So I'm gonna block. So again, realistic weapons, but trying to toggle through all my weapons and armor is kind of a pain.
Is that something that comes up just in terms of going through the levels, or is that something that's really a pain in the butt when you're, say, facing off against one of the gods?
Well, if I'm not in battle, even when I am in battle, I can go to the inventory and I can toggle through stuff this way, but it's kind of time consuming and it sort of, interrupts the flow of gameplay. However, it's not going to let me craft. You can actually craft in this game, which is pretty cool.
How deep does that go?
It goes sort of deep. I mean, you have a handful of items that you can...
Crackheads like the old.
This guy cracks me up.
Why you standing there and nothing
That was a
but
nice pun.
skin?
Yeah.
Well done.
Scalio's as good as a helmet. I think I got some old leathers in the back you can wear. Grab me that coin box, would you?
All right.
Why does he have a... Is that a Scottish accent?
They have all sorts of funky accents in this game, which is pretty hilarious to me.
Try these on. Cover up that greasy hide of yours.
Hey, man, I do the best I can. But yeah, you can upgrade your armor and weapons. You can actually do that in the public marketplace, the Agora, as well. But at any rate, so crafting it's quasi deep. It's not bad. I mean, it's not as detailed as some games, but I appreciate that it's in this game. Another slight issue I have is I sometimes come across sticky platforming controls. So not so much in the beginning, like where we are right now, but later on in the game, you'll be fighting the gods a lot, and all of their domains have all sorts of crazy platforms that you need to traverse. And every once in a while, my guy will get stuck on a corner.
Oof.
And it's only for a second or two, but it's enough so that if I'm in the middle of a battle, I'm open to attack, and I often get killed that way. So it kind of sucks. All right, so here's a granary.
How does death work in this game?
So basically, you will... Oops. Yes, I know they're taking the grain. So you die, and you'll have an autosave feature that will start you over from the last part of the level that you were at. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, if you save it frequently enough, you can start wherever you last saved it.
So is that automatic, and is it frequent, or is it more of a thing where you actually have to go looking for checkpoints?
There are no checkpoints. It seems to automatically save whenever you go to a different area. Mm-hmm. And again, I can save basically at any time.
You want.
Exactly.
Nice.
So it's good, and I can use coin to buy new weapons and armor as well.
So, refresh my memory. Was it 12 gods or goddesses?
Yeah, so there are 12 Olympians. And so you won't fight all of them. Sometimes you can do side missions. For example, you can kind of get into a drinking contest with Dionysus.
Nice.
Which is pretty funny. That I actually like. You don't fight Aphrodite.
Too much love in the room.
There's too much love in the room, exactly. And then you will, I don't want to spoil anything, but you'll come across some of the other gods as well, and they don't necessarily fight you either. They might have you do missions, or they'll just help you on your quest.
So is there then kind of a big boss that's kind of masterminding this whole decision to eliminate humanity?
So basically, it's, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's pretty obvious who it is.
Right.
So if you know your Greek mythology, there's only one person who has the final say in everything. And so it might be that person who's got it out for humanity.
Yeah. But you also think I just think it's funny. I personally really loved Greek mythology when I was younger, and I just spent hours reading it. And just so from what I know, it just seems that if it's the person I think, or the god that I think it is, or god or goddess, I should say, I think it is, you would think that they would not have it out for humanity.
You would, and that's the interesting thing about the game, is it doesn't have much of a story or plot. There's not a lot of twists and turns. It's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So it didn't detract from the score or anything, but it wasn't a particularly deep or interesting story. I don't know much about Nicandrios except what you're seeing here, is that he's trying to save his village and will go on to fight the gods. And it's not like a huge backstory. It's not like he's Kratos, where, he's fighting the gods for personal reasons. Mm-hmm. And you can go into people's houses and you can take stuff. It's very much like the Adventure of Link, where you can snoop through people's houses, help yourself to all sorts of different items. And here you can actually see I have a javelin, and I can actually throw it, and that will open up that door. So that's kind of cool.
So this is obviously a tutorial level,
right,
trying to get you used to the controls. How quickly does the game ramp up, like throwing everything at you?
It takes a couple of levels, but it does start to get trickier. You'll have more enemies. You'll have more platforming elements thrown your way. So I would say after this tutorial level, it sort of slowly ramps up. But again, because you can tackle levels in whatever order you want, it's kind of up to you how you want to approach the game. Do you want to go ahead and sort of jump in with both feet, or do you want to sort of start in the easier, missions? And the game doesn't tell you which is which, so you sort of have to discover it on your own.
So you could actually end up doing a very difficult path from the get-go, depending on what you decide you want to do first.
Yeah, I mean, they're not drastically different, so there's not like a super easy level and a super difficult level, but the game kind of tries to nudge you in one direction or another. But it is pretty open-ended, so that's the good news.
So if you're a huge like mythology buff, you know, you're really into it, does this game like give a lot of like little nods to like maybe like lesser known or even more intricate bits of mythology in it?
So what it does is there are all of these stone slabs sprinkled throughout Olympus. You'll get to go to Olympus after this tutorial level. And the cool thing about that, and I'm just running around mindlessly, but the cool thing about that is that it teaches, or it actually has quotes from real ancient writers on each stone slab. So you'll get like quotes from Homer, you know, all about the gods from the Iliad and the Odyssey, which is really, really cool. So it kind of tries to the developer kind of tries to educate people as they sort of run around this world, which I actually appreciate. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, because I think you have an idea of sort of the platforming and action elements of the game. Take that. I just clubbed him. All right, and I got coins.
Deserved it.
Yeah, but I really want to give this game like a high score in my heart, because I love the art and I love the fact that they are paying homage to old side-scrolling games. But because the controls start to get trickier and trickier as you progress, I kind of had to ding the score.
So you're saying it's not the kind of tricky that rewards you for mastering that skill then? It's just kind of a more slightly clunkier.
Yeah, it's a little bit clunky. And, you know, it's not bad in the beginning levels, but after a while it starts to get pretty annoying. And so it's one of those things with a little more polish, I think, and a little more time, these things could have been smoothed out. But as is, I'm giving this game a 6.9. So it's just on the edge of being good or really good, but it can't quite get to that point.
Well, it certainly still looks worth a try for me. Like this is so much in my personal wheelhouse.
In fact, it is free to PlayStation Plus members all this month of February. So if you have a PlayStation 4 and want to give this game a shot, it is free to PlayStation Plus members, and I highly recommend at least trying it out. All right, so that's it for this Apotheon review. I'm Megan Sullivan, and for all your ancient Greek and video game needs, keep it locked here to IGN.